All right, we're here with Zac Gallen. Zach, thank you for taking the time. Just kind of ramping up for yourself to get back out on the mound. Just how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, feel pretty solid. Had a little bit of a month off with some injury, and then cramped up 2 starts ago. So it's been kind of a stop and go season, but yeah, I mean we're putting in the work. Feeling pretty good so far.
From you when you have pitched, just how have you felt? Your season's gone so far.
Yeah, it's been hard to get into a rhythm really. That's probably been the biggest thing this year is like have one or two in a row, and then it's hard to kind of check all 5, 6 in a row. So yeah, I mean obviously. It's a hard game. It's not easy to get in a rhythm. So hopefully the last, how many ever we got, 30, 35 games, maybe get on a nice little run here.
You've been a part of 2 trades in your time, playing baseball. Just what are those transitions like going from one team to another? First time obviously was that trade from St. Louis to the Marlins, and then obviously coming here to Arizona. Just what's that transition like going from one team to another?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I had one where I was traded in the off season, which I think at the time probably was a little easier on me, kind of it being my first one. I was able to kind of get my bearings about me, and like, all right, I'm going to be going to a new spring training, new affiliate, stuff like that. The second time being during the season was definitely a little bit different. I think, but with me being traded already, I kind of knew what to expect, but definitely a little bit tougher in the sense of had an apartment here in Miami and had to pack up right away, and kind of everything flips on its head. So yeah, it's a part of the game though, and I took every opportunity I had when whether it was with the team I was with or the new team I was at.
Do you feel like you have any extra motivation when facing Miami, knowing they trade you for Jazz and all that?
Not really. I mean, that was I don't know how many years ago that was. 6 years ago now. So I try not to bog myself down with like the extracurricular type of stuff. It's fun to compete. It's fun to kind of have those comparisons or whatever. But when I'm going about my business day to day, when I'm out on the mound, like I'm trying to compete. Just like it's any other team across the field.
Talk to us about the postseason. Obviously, you guys got to the World Series. Just how does that compare to the regular season? Just any atmosphere maybe you've ever been, just that atmosphere, the stakes of a postseason game.
Yeah, it was interesting, that's for sure. I mean, it was something that when I got over here, we kind of were striving towards. They had made the playoffs in 17. I think 18 they were really close to making the playoffs, and then 19 when I got over to Arizona, we were in the wild card race and just kind of collapsed down the back stretch. So it was something that we had talked about, and then we went through some really thin years, and we were really kind of just keen in on the culture and trying to make this not a one-time thing. So yeah, to play in those games this year, I think gave us an immense amount of confidence, just with our young group, really, of like knowing that like we're good enough to play with the teams that are perennial playoff contenders. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to have big crowds at Chase Field, because normally when we do that, it's a lot of Dodgers fans tend to come. So yeah, for our fans to be able to come out and show the support, I think meant more just to the city than it did to us, and we were really proud of that.
Finally, do you still keep in contact with anyone in the Marlins organization? I know some guys that are up here now that probably spent some time in the minors with you, and even a little bit of time in the majors.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still keep in contact with some of the guys I play with in the minor leagues that aren't necessarily in pro baseball anymore. A lot of good memories with those guys. Whenever we play the Marlins, it's always good to see Sandy. Bummed that he's still on the shelf right now. I love watching him do his thing. So I didn't get a chance to see him this series, but yeah, some of those guys that I've played with. I'm sure there's a few others that I'm forgetting, but yeah, Sandy and I came up together with St. Louis and then Miami. So it's kind of fun to see his progression as a pitcher.
How cool is it to sometimes just face him? I know you guys faced off each other last year.
Yeah, it makes you have to bring your A game, really. That the runs are hard to come by when Sandy's on the mound. So I knew last year I think we faced against each other, or 2 years ago. But yeah, it was like, yeah, you got to bring your A games. Like you're gonna be lucky to score 2 that day. So try and throw up as many zeros as you can.